This episode contains language that is not suitable for minors. Please enjoy responsibly. And now, today's episode. So I'm going to kick things off now and kick us off with the 15th episode.
Well, hold on a second, John. You didn't answer my question about the Buttercup song. Like, is that just like raking a serious coin in now? Because
wait, don't we want that as part of the show? In the show?
No, not really. So someone wrote a big check for it to be part of the commercial, and it gets performance fees every single time it airs. And Geico's a big one. Remember, they just did a Wild Thing one too just before that.
Yeah, so, that's great.
The Trogs picked up a check.
Well, not the Trogs, it's the songwriters. So right, so someone owns the sound recording, and that was Fontana, which became Polygram, which became Universal Music. So Universal Music got paid for using their sound recording, and the publishing company for Wild Thing, which I want to say is Sony, gets paid for that. So they go and they negotiate. What is it going to be in my commercial? Blah blah blah. Right. And
what do you think the Trogs get out of it? The artists.
By the time it filters through everybody.
So that's not the way it works, right? The way the bands work is sort of like, hey, dude, we're going to give you $150,000 to go make a record. Whatever you don't spend, you get to put in your pocket. And then, oh, you want to go on tour? Well, we'll give you some tour support because, right? That's. And so this doesn't apply to the Trogs anymore. They're a non-existent band. So it's like, so you made your records, you got pocketed. And so, okay, so the end of the day, you made 10 albums. And so you're into us for $1.5 million, right? Of which you pay the $1.5 million back out of your royalties. Your royalty is $1 an album, right? And so until you sell 1.5 million albums, we don't owe you a dime. And generally the way it works with record companies, it goes, oh, geez, these guys have made $1 million. Let's go, and they're still active, right? Let's just say the Trogs a bad example because they don't exist anymore. But say for example, they go in, it's like, oh, hey, we want you to make some more records. Let's do another 5-record deal. And for each time you make a record for us, we'll give you $250,000, and then $350,000 and $400,000. We'll give you $100,000 more for each album you do, just to sort of trigger a cash flow. So no one ever actually gets paid. It's like you keep stringing them along. That's the whole story of recoupment. It's like, yeah, we're counting to you. And then you could pretend, oh yeah, that special edition. Yeah, that was an expensive package. So the deductions are higher on that because, we did that velvet you really wanted on the box. So we take an extra packaging deduction of 50 cents for each one of those. So that's why that one didn't recoup as much as you thought. And, that's the whole game. But in the history now of Trogs, like being what they are.
Oh my God!
Yeah, is that mind blowing, Chris? He's giving us the secrets of the business.
It's just but also that Rasso's just a fucking matter of fact about it.
I know,
too. It's like
Alan Klein would be proud.
But no, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to be matter of fact about it. I mean, this is not record deals now. We're talking about a deal from, the 30 years ago. Like the deal any of our bands would have signed if we signed deals in the 80s or the 90s, right? It would have been, you get advances, you get room. But that's the record places. The record is not where you make your money, right? They write a big ass check, right?
Let's just remember, we're talking about it's 2021, and the guy's the lead singer of the Trogs, just sitting down with a bag of Ruffles in front of the TV.
Red Presley's dead.
He's dead.
Okay, but somebody's left in that band.
Someone's sitting there, and all of a sudden, dang, and it's like, that's my riff there.
So that's not how. That's not how they get paid, right? It's like
yeah. No,
that's
there's
what
my riff. So there's my riff, and the guy's not even picking up a 1 red cent off of that.
But so first of all, so okay, so let me. I haven't gotten to the real injustice of the world right now. So right, first of all, they didn't write the song, so that's why they're not seeing any money, right? Let's take that out. So the guy who played on it. So this is the things that have been right with the world. There's now something that's called Sound Exchange, and Sound Exchange,
not the record store in Wayne.
Not the register. It is they're in Washington, D.C., and Sound Exchange collects money from every single internet radio station, right? It's part of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Including your own, John. So when
yes.
What's the name of your? I'm sorry, I can't remember. What's the name of your?
Radio Free Brooklyn. So Radio Free Brooklyn.
When do you do that show? When does that go?
Yeah, plug your show.
Monday nights at 5.
Right. Just plug your show already.
Yeah.
I got.
He's opened it up for you.
I don't want to spend all the time off air here, but I got to tell you about the kids.
This is now on air. This story is fascinating to me.
Are we? I never knew you started recording. This is unfair. If I say anything that I get sued for, it's all your fault, Tony, and that microphone's going to be mine.
That's right. God said one thing that
I know. I'm kidding. But so now there's an organization called Sound Exchange, and what it did is now, historically, the only people who got paid when music was played on what they call terrestrial radio that's broadcast, like your typical, FM or AM band.
Yeah. We listen to Howard Stern. We get it.
Okay, thank you. So satellite. That would be a digital.
What's that?
Service
like a satellite? I don't understand. What do you mean?
He's giving you the business. This guy. Come on, Chris.
Sorry.
So there's digital and analog, traditional analog.
I was trying to distinguish radio types. Okay,
new technology has come out.
Okay,
right. To the layman.
So to the point of that, so there's Sound Exchange collects money from all of these radio stations, right? The digital stations, but they do not collect from terrestrial radio, right? Because there is no law that requires them to pay for playing records. The only thing they pay is what they call a performance right, and that's money. They get a license from ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, right? And they have to get them from all three. And then they could play any song they want, and that big chunk of money goes there, and they report money, and then CSAC, BMI, and ASCAP figures out who to pay songwriters, right? Now, the record company doesn't get paid for records being played on the radio. The artist, therefore, doesn't get paid for records being played on the radio. There's only 3 countries in the entire world where that happens.
I always thought they did, and that's what
No.
I didn't know that, man.
Just songwriters. But every other country in the world.
It's been that way?
Ever.
Okay, what 3 countries?
I know. I'm done. I'm not answering anymore.
What? So no, yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Like I wanted to interject only because, like, I never knew. Like I always just assumed.
But the idea,
the artist pushed the product, and therefore, like the spins calculated into some sort of royalty for them.
None whatsoever.
They need the radio station They need the radio station to play their records, so people can go out there and buy them.
It's all promotional. That is the shit that was sold. That we're going to play your records because you can remember radio started with live music, right? And so the musicians did get paid. Then they came, well, play my record instead, so I could sell some records, or because people were buying sheet music from the other stuff right before that, right? So this is all. I mean, this gets into the whole like technology versus business and how's it go back and forth, right? So now they took away the monetization of buying a record, right? Like this, it's gone. So the technology. So now you play the records on the radio. Great. I'm now going to go press play on the streaming service that I do the ad supported. I don't even subscribe. I use the free service, right? So there's some money that gets back to the record company that way, but that takes a lot more plays, as I've mentioned before. So there's only 3 countries in the world that
Iran, Iraq, and North Korea.
And they are North Korea.
I see.
Yep. You're in the United States.
Yeah, the
North
3
Korea and Iraq.
Right, the 3 countries that banned us. Yeah, on YouTube.
So the Sound Exchange was put into place and collects the money for digital services. So SiriusXM has to pay a record fee. They pay Sound Exchange. Radio Free Brooklyn, the station I'm on, they pay a lump sum every year for the rights for records that get recorded. That's why I do a tracking, as every DJ on the show does, and we report every quarter all the songs that we play, and then Sound Exchange bills those out and pays those out. That's why any musicians on here, if any of your music gets played on any of this, you should go sign up with Sound Exchange, because it's with Sound Exchange. Not only do the performers get paid, but so do producers get paid. Anybody who's had arrangers, anybody had anything.
So for the lump sum, John, what would be a lump sum that your radio station?
So the floor of is, I think, $500. I think that's the small. So that which there was a big argument over that, because now it's like, imagine if we need to pay
an annual license of $500 to cover your ass to be able to play songs on your radio station. Do they figure that out for the artist down to the penny?
Well, that's what I was just saying. That's why well, okay, we're going to go into a whole different thing, because so how it's accounted is very different. So $500 goes to, so say there's 1,000, Radio Free Brooklyns. That's, it's $500,000 that goes into the pool. But, like, iHeartRadio, it's millions of dollars that they put in, right? It's a fee. So there's literally tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that goes to Sound Exchange. So Sound Exchange then this is all the songs that have been reported, and then they also have to go through, well, it was on this little dinky ass station, or it was on, like, they know where it came from, and so obviously a play on a Pandora versus an iHeartRadio versus a Sirius XM. Like, Sirius is, it's got a huge audience for one channel versus, just the Iowa station that was a rebroadcast for an iHeartRadio station and whatever. So, right, that it all gets weighted and whatever, and they figure it out, and then they have to match, well, who's on this recording? So you have arrangers, you have all that, and all of that. That's why they've been recruiting to try to get people to sign up and have their deals. And so, yeah, it gets paid out. Obviously, it's almost impossible to be perfect, but Sound Exchange is much better because everything is reported digitally, tracked digitally. Whereas in your more in terrestrial radio, it's much more. It was done as a survey, and because now, so that performance royalty also goes down to every bar, every digital jukeboxes. So I mean, they everyone does a pretty good job. That's why in some cases, I would argue that, hey, let's just give everyone a percentage of the money rather than spend 20% of it as a
trying
fee
to figure out who
it goes to. Let's do the 10% fee method and give everyone 10% more rather than I'll get it exactly right, but you're going to get 80% of it.
You communist. But that means the Beatles would be subsidizing all these little artists because there's no way to quantify. Certainly, your classic rock guys, Zeppelin and all them, they're being played more often, and therefore
they get paid more too.
Well,
like
right,
that's what I'm saying. It's equitable. No, I'm just saying it would be. You're the other way around. So I'm saying let's just say it takes a company of 300 people, working 24/7 with significant salaries to figure out how to pay every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right. Yeah, you're spending
of that $100 million. That there's $30 million in operating costs. So what if it's just hey, you know what?
Flat fees. Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven. Okay, that one gets a lot. Right. Well, let's just take 90% and give it to like all of the big artists that are on every playlist, and then the other 10%, let's just divvy that up. And I'm sorry that you're not going to get your nickel. Okay.
Your Husker Du's of the world. But getting to Chris's point, at the end of the day, if you were in the band the Trogs, and this commercial is airing, you probably don't see any money, is what you were saying, right?
No. So I was trying to, because there's no such thing. I mean, there's sort of no one way to do it. I was trying to, like the majority, I was trying to explain the way it worked. So the Trogs probably, I mean, at this point, you don't know what deal they signed in 1965 of what their
well, we do. Everybody got screwed back in the 60s.
Well, no.
So. Most likely they didn't get.
I think Bob Dylan's doing okay. I think the Beatles are still doing okay.
Sure. The big boys
I mean, everyone didn't get screwed. Some people had good managers. Other people got screwed.
Yeah.
What was the other big bombshell the other day? Who just sold their catalog? That was
David Bowie.
Neil Young.
Neil Young.
Yeah, that was his